welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell, and we are coming live across the world from the warm tropical climate of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, with its balmy minus 21 degrees. So as I said before, my name is Neil Thrussell, 4 times international bestseller, and I am a life coach, a reverend, an author, and just a passionate lover of life. And I would like to introduce my wonderful, talented, extremely, exceptionally smart, and always keeping me on task, Sarah Wade. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me, Neil. It's nice to see you, Nico, and welcome, everybody. It's nice to see you. My name's Sarah Wade. I am an Australian, and I'm an art therapist and coach for people who are slightly woo-woo, who want to create a little bit more artful transformations and directions in their life. And today, we have Nico Davis-Cooke from the Central Coast of New South Wales joining us. Welcome, Nico.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Neil. I'm just so thrilled to be with you here today because it's a pleasure to be chatting with Canada and Perth from my little home in New South Wales. And I'm just delighted. I am a confidence coach for women, and I just love helping women just connect to that inner resource that they can bring their inner lioness to life. So looking forward to this conversation today. Thank you, Neil.
I love the term, the inner lioness. I love it. That's just whew, I like it. Thank you. We're already on a good roll. So how did you stumble onto this decision to become that you felt compelled, called, or whatever it is to help women find the inner lioness?
Oh, well, Neil, this was something actually that I had to go through myself. I had to crawl through so much pain and anguish. Well, no, it wasn't. I didn't have to, but I chose to. I came across it really because when I first moved to Australia, I don't know if you can detect it, Neil, but I'm actually originally English. I know a lot of Aussies pick my accent really quickly. And I moved to Australia when I was 30 and married a farmer. And I had previously been living in London, in, the capital of the world, isn't it? London, UK. And all my mates there said, "You're crazy. You're moving to the middle of nowhere. What are you going to do?" And yeah, I thought it was a big adventure, but you know how adventures sometimes go a little bit awry. Yeah. So I had to find some resources within me. And now, having found them, it's my mission to bring that to other women, because I know that I'm not just the only one on the planet who felt like that, who felt sort of trapped. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll unpack a lot more about that. Don't want to spill the beans and take too much control of the conversation just now.
Oh, so how did you, Sarah, our viewers, our podcast listeners, they know very little about you. How did you stumble or decide that art therapy was for you?
I have a interesting story to share, but what I'm going to do is give you the short version. So I had a fall from grace and ended up in a psych ward in a hospital, and discovered art therapy was a way that I could deal with my stuff that I'd been trying to use I'd been trying to use talk therapy for years. And unfortunately, talk therapy wasn't enough for me. So in this hospital setting, I was introduced to art therapy. And art therapy just changed my life so much forever. And I found my tribe. I found my people. I found a way that I could express myself without words. I've been label free for about a decade now, and I am so happy and confident in the choices that I'm making and the decisions that I'm making going forward. And honestly, as someone who's always been crafty and arty, to be able to push that forward was, I can't put that into words. There's just the power of art therapy. Again, you just can't put it into words. So I would highly recommend art therapy to anybody who is struggling for a range of reasons. Yes.
Sounds wonderful. So if you're listening to us or on Facebook or on YouTube, you can put a comment in the chat box. If you're in a group, I ask you, you need to give StreamYard, say yes, StreamYard can have permission to post my comments. So give StreamYard a permission and then shoot us a little hello and where are you listening from? Because we're curious. We want to know because we are coming across the globe. Previous on our show, we've had people in Africa, we've had people in Europe, we've had people in New Zealand, we've had people in Australia, and we've had because of the time zone, we haven't had too many people further. Direction is that west of Australia because of the crazy time zones, but that we're in. But we're looking forward. We'd love to know where you are, so shoot us a comment.
Yeah.
So,
please share.
What's one thing that you do when life is giving you lemons? What's one thing you do to take those lemons and make lemonade in your life? Is there a go-to thing? For me, when I'm really frustrated and life sucks and I'm just inserting bad words all over the place, I go for a run. Running is very meditative for me, and my running pace can be very fast for an old guy when I'm really annoyed. But for me, running is meditative, and it's very calming for me. Nico, what is it? What's one thing that turns lemons to lemonade for you?
Yeah, well, I'd have to say, I agree with you. Exercise is the best way to go around changing the way I'm feeling or the way I'm thinking. So, but it's not running for me, it's swimming. I get into the pool and I swim for a kilometer or two. And at the end, that really is a meditation because you've got the breathing, much like running, of course, you're breathing, you're focusing on when you're taking your next breath and just moving. It's fabulous. Love it.
I think Sarah's going to argue with us already. She's going to say something about art.
Well, I mean, it's always good to throw paint. But that said, I'm not a runner. I can maybe chase after my 4-year-old as she's escaping somewhere and stop her from harming herself. But I do love swimming like Nico. I absolutely love going to the water. Hydrotherapy for me is been part of my life, and I wouldn't change that for the world. That said, I also like walking in nature. I walk in nature every day, and I tend to walk both with and without my daughter. And just a few days ago, I went hiding some crystals and some little fairy trinkets for her to find on our walk because I knew it would light up her life. And seeing her have that excitement, it was wonderful.
That's such a beautiful thing.
Thank you. One other thing I found when I was really frustrated, going out to the garden and ripping out weeds because you physically, you're pulling stuff and it's like a energetic, I've got this. So, yeah, I find gardening, weeding in particular, quite good for any frustrations that I might have.
Yeah, I think if anybody was to ask me about my gardening, it would have to be I'm a destructive gardener, not a constructive gardener.
And I hear you. On one of my walks in when COVID was rampant in Canada, and I was out on a walk, some people had hung in the forested walk. They hung ornaments with motivational, positive, uplifting sayings. And it was just along this walk, and it's about 1 kilometer. I don't know who did it, but they would regularly change them. So somebody who was very creative, because they were all so well done. It wasn't my little stick writing to it. It was beautiful and well done, and it just was fun because on the walk I'd go, I want to go this way because maybe they've changed the ornaments.
Such a good idea.
Yeah. So
We had a teddy bear walk near our house. Someone had gone up and put teddy bears in the tree, and roughly every 5 days or every week, they would go and change the teddy bear and the sign. So it's great that it's gone all over the world. People are giving back to each other. How good is that community spirit? And we're lifting each other up. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good, so good.
And slightly different. My wife and I, Tina, were driving, and we stopped at a historic location. It's called Rogers Pass. But it doesn't matter. And we're in the parking lot, and we found this gnome, and it's a worldwide organization that for Alcoholic Anonymous, they put a person's name on there that's recovering from it, and the gnome is meant to, you just say and add good wishes and good luck to this person. And the person whose name is on there, they don't use their last name. You don't know who it is. And it's just to let the people know about people who are struggling with alcoholism and to offer your prayers and hopes for them. And it was like, cool.
Oh, wow.
I love
That's
all
lovely.
the little ways that people can help each other. It's just beautiful, so creative.
Yeah. So, Nico, what's one thing that you would, to bring the inner lion, like predominantly my clients are women, and that's because they're ahead of the curve on that they need to look after themselves. There's traditionally the men are a little slower on the uptake, unless it's money. If it's money, then they're in there like a dirty shirt. And then you have to change the way you look at it. You get them in there because of money, but then you slightly mislead them and get them to work on themselves. But women are still ahead of the game on self-development, self-growth, or personal growth. What is one of the things to help women with their inner lioness that you provide?
And you're so right, Neil, that women are sort of leading the way, as it were, with self-development. The thing that I have found that I struggled with most was the actual sort of self-belief that I was capable of doing something, because I don't know, I think it was part of moving to Australia and moving to a totally different environment where I found myself suddenly feeling that I didn't know enough anymore, and what I knew wasn't relevant. And it was a case for me of actually rebuilding that confidence in me. And I did that in little steps, just sort of creating little patterns for myself that I would, I made a promise that I would go for a walk, or and then I'd, sort of just celebrate when I did it. And they were things that, to be honest, to a large extent, I had to hide from my husband because he thought it was all crap, right? Excuse me, I don't know whether or not your viewers or your audio people are accustomed to language like that, but
we've said bad words.
Oh, that's good.
We dropped the occasional F-bomb because it was appropriate.
Well, I'll try and avoid that one. But yeah, just sort of giving myself little celebrations, little wins on how I can really start believing in myself. And that's where I start with my clients, is it's like, actually, it's rather like Sarah just said about, the breadcrumbs or the teddy bear walk or whatever. You're sort of trying to plant little successes along the way that you're going to come across and you can achieve, and then build that up into something bigger. Start small and go bigger. That's my motto.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I'm going to put this back up because Australia was the first into the comments. Yay, Australia.
Oh, good. Spoonbill. Yay.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of things in Melbourne. Melbourne got quite creative, I heard. That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah. Go Spoonbill. If you've got any photos, please drop them down later. I'd love to see.
Hey, That's a wonderful idea. I didn't think of that. So good work, Sarah. So I'm going to change questions here. What I've discovered when I'm working with women, one of the worst words that I can say, and yet it's one of the most profound to women, is discipline. Do you find yourself that you like the word discipline, Sarah, or not?
Personally,
In
no.
order to accomplish something with regularity, we need discipline. But yet, the divine feminine, it's like I just said the F word to them. What's it like for you?
I think everybody's different. Personally, I'm not a fan of discipline. That said, I go for the carrot and the stick. So same sort of theme, slightly different languaging, and I work with the carrot and the stick quite well. So as an example, late last year, part of our mastermind, we went live to the world and said, this is my goal for the year. This is what I'm going to do if I do it, and this is what I'm going to do if I don't. And I'm going to hold myself accountable to that. I've got a lot of things happening both in my business and my personal world at the moment, including renovating a house, which is pretty epic. So I know that if I follow my plan, I'm not going to end up with a tattoo on my wrist, which was going to be done live in front of best part of 80 people, and I'm tattoo free, and I do not want that. So discipline, maybe not, but carrot and the stick, yes, I will go for that.
Nico, what is the word discipline trigger in you?
Well, I'd have to say that it triggers things like sort of black leather gear and a whip. I don't want to go there. Although there is an expression, I think it's Brian Tracy quotes something like self-discipline is one of the best ways to self-love. And I do think that this is very true. I prefer to call it good habits, though, good practices. Discipline was something that we were threatened with at home as a child, and wait till dad comes home to discipline you. Yeah, so it has sort of that connotation to me.
Yeah,
and yet
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
And then I go, this is the thinker in me, and they're going, so whatever you label it, it's still the same thing. You still have to do things regularly and somewhat scheduled in order to get it done. And it's just the wording that we're more comfortable, or the lies, the stories, or whatever we need to tell ourselves to make it work for us.
Definitely.
I think having those healthy emotional habits and boundaries as we go ahead and make those changes in our lives that we want to, like, don't wait for like the big step. There's so many different things in between that we should be celebrating along the way. I'm not going to wait until I finish the renovations on my house to celebrate. No.
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate everything I've done along the way.
Yeah.
Because I'm worth it. And anyone who's watching who's not doing this, please adopt it as your own. It's a really good tip that Nico shared.
Yeah. Because sorry, Neil, you were going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So one of the things that actually, it's just gone straight from my head. How embarrassing is that? It wasn't important, probably.
One of the things I've discovered is celebration is loosely tied to self-worth. If you don't find it, you're worthy of this goal, or that the goal is worthy of celebration, we put so many labels to it that we forget to celebrate, or we don't think it's worth celebrating, or we are worth celebrating. And some days, just being able to put your pants on put your right leg in your right pant leg and your left in your left is reason to celebrate, because we've had those days where absolutely nothing has gone right, and we need to look to celebrate what has gone right. We need to be grateful for what it is, and I think it's tied to so intertwined, gratitude and celebration.
Oh, totally, Neil. And that is actually very, very close to what I was going to say. Thank you, because Sarah sort of plucked it, and you said it. So, I remember when I was a young mum with a baby, and maybe Sarah can relate to this as well. That some days it was a success if I got dressed. Others, I was just sort of slopping around in my nightie and dressing gown the whole day. So getting dressed was an achievement. So, it's good to remember these are landmarks and celebrate them as such, rather than just doing ourselves down the whole time, saying, oh, it's so hopeless, I can't get out of this. Everything is a success if you treat it that way.
Absolutely. And I will add to that. I would say, the words we use in our mind really make a difference. So, saying something like I'm sick, or, I'm useless because I'm just wearing my nightie, I'm working on myself is a better way of putting it. Or however you sit with the words in your mind, but, you're working on it. I'm working on my health, or I'm working on raising a child. And I think the statistics are something like it's about 4,200 plus times harder with each child in your house. 4,200 plus times harder. That's not a small effort. I remember celebrating by brushing my teeth. I'd put her down as a newborn, and I'd be like, yeah, it's time to brush my teeth. I'm alone, and maybe even pop in a shower by myself. It was those little things. And I celebrated hard. Dancing in the shower.
Absolutely. I'm trying not to monopolize the conversation, because it is the Neil and Sarah show, and this is our inaugural show. So we're learning to dance together, because we haven't had a practice yet. So and Sarah's got a little bit of a lag, because from Canada to Perth is quite a bit of distance here, so she's having to play audio catch up just a little bit.
Might sneak in now. I'm curious, guys. Like we're all coaches here. I ask my clients who have a lack of self-worth to give them permission. Having permission to do something, I know means a lot to the people that I've worked with in the past. Have you had that experience, and what would you like to share about permission?
Who are you asking? Me?
Either of you, yeah.
Okay. Definitely. I mean, I've certainly had that personally. Sort of, and it comes down to that self-worth of who am I to ask, really, and actually just bringing that into awareness with my clients has really sort of started to unfurl for them the possibilities. Sort of there's so much potential in all of us, but if we're not prepared to sort of just take a peek under the cover a little bit, to see what we find under there, you'll never know. So you've got to sort of say, yes, I'm worthy of asking this question. What can I do? What can I achieve? So important.
Yeah. And I think also on top of that, what's gone well today, or maybe where can I improve, and not come at it with a really a negative perspective. I remember when I had depression in the past, that inner critic was quite loud, and it's quite different using those questions without that inner critic, so that you can actually move forward in the direction you want to go in. Yeah. Have you had that experience, Neil?
I think if I've ever been depressed, it's never lasted more than 20 minutes. I've been truly blessed with a twisted sense of, okay, how do I move beyond this? How do I change what I'm feeling? Because I don't like to feel that. And for me, it works on the opposite end, that I have spent my time being so positive that I haven't allowed myself to feel the hurt that could be there or should be there. I'm trying to be so positive all the time that when somebody has said something really hurtful and spiteful, I've laughed it off and moved beyond it, just to be that positive person. And then it's caused me later on to go, oh, that really hurt. And I missed the opportunity. So for me to be, I moved too quickly, very easily and quickly to the happy-go-lucky guy. So for me, my growth has come for recognizing, to feel the ouch, to feel when the hit is there, and then let it sit there and feel it, and then be able to move on. And moving on, it looks like, is okay. How is this how I want to be? How do I want to show up in the world? How can I still feel what I feel and not be wrong and move forward?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have that whole range of emotions, like every color in the rainbow. We've got black and white in there as well. Why not allow ourselves to have those feelings? Like you said, a lot of people are the positive people don't allow themselves to have that negativity. So when I've worked with people in the past like that, a lot of deep-set anger has come up. And it's been an interesting journey for them. This beautiful transformation has occurred as they got in touch with that anger and recognized it's okay to feel that anger. But you're right, sticking in that for too long, that's actually a really interesting thing. So some people who, like yourself, maybe I would invite you to feel that anger more. Whereas someone who's feeling that anger more, I would say, okay, maybe give yourself 27 seconds. Really feel that emotion. Really feel it. Get as bad as you can. And then change your state, because that is really important. And if you need to talk to someone or go to an art therapist or coach, mentor, friend, anybody, get it out. Get it out.
Yep.
Go waiting.
Absolutely. It took me many years to recognize that I was living in a very Pollyanna world and not feeling the depths of the negative emotions, because I was so quick to move to the positive, because it is an adrenaline rush to be in that place. And people could say I'm still very easy to move from somebody saying some very hurtful words to me and going, oh, okay, and moving on without owning my own story to it. So yeah, it's been interesting. I was a coach and a participant, an assistant in a workshop, which was basically dealt with anger therapy, and because I have a martial arts background, where we dressed up in full combat gear. And it was like, okay, Sarah, come hurt me. And there was no weapons, and it was as there was people to hope to pull you off if I'm saying stop, and so that I wasn't really going to get hurt. But it was crazy. It was awesome to feel, in a twisted sense, to be part of the catharsis, the change in people from their rage, to have given an outlet where it was safe and in control for them to feel this rage and to be able to express it, and then be able, and then the hugs at the very end, because you've taken this negative energy, the hugs from that person that you were willing to be in there were incredible. Body racking, complete blubbering messes.
Wow, what a way to process it, Neil. That's fantastic. Because there are times, and this will probably ring some bells with some of the listeners as well. I'd say that there are times when we're actually on the receiving end of somebody else's anger, and that's happened to me actually from the same person twice in the last, say, month. And it's not somebody that I regularly interact with. And each time they've gone at me like, bloody hell, I've thought, where's this coming from? And, you know, I, being a coach, I'm able to sort of appreciate that it's not actually me, that it's something in them, that they've got sort of something that they're struggling with, and they can't express it in any other way than with anger at me over something I might have said or done or whatever it might was. But it just triggered this alert. And I know that in the past, I used to get really scared, really scared of that sort of anger, because I had that in my marriage. And it used to be, and I just shut down. I'd shut down. But now I have done enough work on myself that I can actually stand there and just say, you know, so what else do you want to say? You know, what is it? What, you know, let's get to the bottom of this. Why is it that you're feeling like this? What else would you like to say? And know that with compassion for them, that it's not all about me. It's just the way they're feeling at that particular moment. Does that make sense? I hope it does.
Absolutely. And yeah, because I may be mad at someone, but it's me being mad, spewing all over them. And yeah, and it's my baggage, not theirs.
Yeah.
I think a powerful question to ask either ourselves or the other person, depending on the situation, you know, is this really about me?
Yeah.
Really powerful question, you know, or is it really about you, you know, depending on the person, the situation. You know, I had an interesting experience recently. COVID-wise, Perth has been pretty stable. You know, we didn't have to wear masks or go into lockdown for much time at all until about a fortnight ago. And then we had a huge 5 days where we had to, you know, stay inside. And the following week, you know, we had to wear masks. Now, I went to a shopping centre, and the security guard there, granted, he would have been seeing people coming and going and, you know, sign the register, people complaining about it because we hadn't been used to it. So he was quite aggressive. I walked into the shopping centre thinking that lockdown had finished and we didn't actually have to wear masks anymore. I wasn't aware of the update. So I walked in without my mask, having some in the car, and he just went down at me, like, really quite negatively. And I thought, I'm not going to bite. Walked back to my car and put my mask on, did my shopping, and came back afterwards and had a chat with him. They said, look, mate, I understand your role here today might be a bit stressful, but for me as a customer, my customer experience today was really shit. And I said it to him like that. And I said, I don't know what you've experienced with all these other people. I made a mistake. I was unaware of the situation, and I'm more than happy to comply. And he said, people have been going at me all day long. I said, well, none of my business, but perhaps if you came about it a nicer way, you know, hey, mate, have you got your mask? You know, have you, you know, come in a nicer way of approaching people, you might have a different interaction with people. And he kind of looked down at his feet and looked a bit embarrassed and sheepish, and you couldn't see much because his hair was covering his eyes, and he just sort of nodded. And I walked away on that note, knowing that, and he actually thanked me before I left, said, thank you, I appreciate that. So, you know, it wasn't about me. It was about everything else he'd experienced. But it doesn't matter because I was somebody new. And I wonder if other people have had that experience. I'm sure. Like, get in the comments if you've experienced that with security guards or other people. Like, how have you handled that?
Absolutely. So do you, when you're dealing with your clients, do any of you teach a grounding exercise to help in this particular instance?
I use a lot of breath work with my clients. Yeah, I'm sure Sarah does lots. She's throwing the paint, but I use a lot of breath work with my clients, and sort of trying to, because I find a lot of people when we're really sort of when we're really in our heat of our emotions, we don't have a lot of conscious thought happening. Our mind is on full alert, and the conscious brain is just vanished because we're in an emotional tangle, as it were. So breathing and just taking that time to work back into our body, then that allows the conscious mind to settle, and sort of then we can start addressing, so what do you need, what's the emotional need we need to address right now, because then we can start working it through from there. That's the way I
Nico,
go.
do you with breath work, do you introduce the heartbeat at all? I work with the heartbeat also. So, we know that our heartbeat has a fairly steady race most of the time, but when we get all flustered, it goes quite faster. So, I know, like putting my child to sleep, I'd start out fast and then slow down. And I do the same with my clients. And having that heartbeat rhythm, whether you do it on your chest or you do it on your legs, or another great one I've liked is standing from right foot to left foot. Take your shoes off and just feel the ground, like literally ground yourself on the ground, and then just literally standing from left to right foot, maybe having that beat on your legs as you are moving side to side. It's a beautiful way of grounding. I personally really enjoy that, and I know that the people I work with enjoy that too.
I like that. I'm going to try that.
Absolutely. For most of my clients, I work with the heartbeat and the physical grounding to that they're connected to the earth, so that they are the one, and then their breath, their heartbeat, and then they're one with the earth. I had done a workshop with one of my spiritual masters, and it's just crazy because it was predominantly men, so it was really testosterone in driven. But one of the tasks is that we'd see someone out in the field, and they had just written their deepest fears and all their trigger points, and the staff would run out at them and just start yelling their deepest fears, like, you're nothing, you're no one, and to find out how fast they could get to their grounding, so that they were doing, because their job was only to ground and to see. And as the weekend progressed, they got deeper, and the triggers were less and less and less, to the point where one man had ED, erectile deficiency, and when you went after him and said that, he just took one of the men that was yelling at him, kissed him on the lips, and we were all done. There's nothing we could do, because he had won, because the grounding had been proven. This was full on hardcore. Learn to live in the moment, because it's going to sneak up on you, and it's what you do outside of the pleasantries of life that really matter. It's when the unsuspected happens that really, for me, shows what our character, what our trigger mechanisms are. It may not show what our truest character is, but it shows what our triggers have, that we're programmed and we come in. Our fight and flight is right there. And when you can work and calm those down, that's when we respond. For me, we respond far more productively and positively.
So I agree. I like that too. I used to work with people in mental health rehab centers and in hospitals and refuges. And one of the things that I found useful, because I was working with a lot of people who either had hallucinations of one sort, or depression, a whole range of mental health issues. And one of the things that was really quite useful was having an elastic band on your wrist. And without, physically hurting yourself too much, just having that little flick of the elastic band sometimes was enough. Somebody noticed that the trigger was coming up, or they were starting to get flighty for one reason or another, just a little flick on the elastic band, and also holding ice, that it was a great way to ground themselves and go, okay, I'm just having a bit of a moment right now. I'm working on myself. I'm holding something that is going to cause me a little bit of discomfort, so that I can go back into my comfort mode.
I do a lot of work with children with special needs, Sarah, in my sort of my part-time job, as it were, is helping kids with special needs who are learning to swim. And we find a lot of them have really hypersensitive sensory needs. So, you know, the light everywhere, or the you know, if you put something hot or cold into your mouth, for example, there's so many senses in your mouth that, you know, sort of trigger things. I don't know whether you drink hot drinks or cold drinks, but these are ways that we regulate ourselves emotionally. And it's just like on steroids with these kids, because because they're so sensitive. So I love the way you sort of saying, yeah, the skin, you see, is your biggest sensory organ in your body. So anything that you do to your skin, whether you, the smoothing or sort of something a little bit sharper, you know, it depends what it is that you're looking for to just sort of alert the senses a little bit more, because it also regulates them.
Yeah, even little things, Nico, like, you know, when you were a child, maybe your mum or your dad or your grandparent maybe felt like brushed your hair, or, you know, gave you that beautiful "you're okay," and it's totally fine to do as an adult. Self-soothing is brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need to or want to, do it. Yeah.
Yeah. When we teach a mindfulness part of our programs, my program, my wife's program, when we're getting people back into their body, we blindfold them, and then we give them a mint and ask them to, like chocolate mint, and ask them not to eat it, but to have it, savor it for as long as you humanly possibly can savor it. And what we'll tell them, well, you'll get another one after this, but this one, because people, once they get chocolate, they want to eat it right away. And we say, this is the purpose, and to feel the sensations and explore what the chocolate is doing in your mouth. Because we've blindfolded them, and we're playing very soft music so that they only can focus on this one sense. And
love that.
And to our viewers and our listeners, highly recommend, if you don't have a blindfold, just go into a dark room. It's safely into a dark room, your bathroom, wherever, and if the kids are around, make sure they don't see that either. And then have the chocolate and take 1, 2, 3 minutes just to savor it. And it can be a hard candy, it can be a chocolate mint, whatever you really like, to feel and explore that sensory sensation.
My mom used to help people in prisons, and she's been a meditation teacher and Tai Chi teacher since the 80s. One of the things she used to do was bring raisins to the prison, and then the ladies would all sit around and do a similar to what you described with the mint. So instead of going straight into their mouth, they had to spend about 10-15 minutes, depending on the length of time they spent, looking at it, you know, checking out the shadows and using other senses, you know, smell, and then taste was the last one. So there are absolutely beautiful ways that we can control ourselves and to ground ourselves, and using food is a good one. Yeah, why not use it?
Because it really brings it right into us, doesn't it? Because let's face it, your gustatory system is the intrinsic part of our body, isn't it? I mean, along with our heart and lungs and stuff, but our guts, insane.
Absolutely. I'm not I have to remember to drink water, but after a long run, I know water is just like, oh, it just feels so good. So that's the other thing. Listeners and viewers, more water.
I read somewhere recently that, you know, out of the 2 liters of water we're recommended to drink in a day, 70% of that is needed by our brain. So it makes sense to drink it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Otherwise you get that groggy feeling, that hungover feeling, and it's just because you're not drinking enough. Yeah. Incredible.
So Sarah, what's one quick, easy thing that back to the lemonade. So you're just feeling crunchy. What's another one simple, easy thing that you do that our listeners or viewers could possibly take on if they choose to, that you use as a tool to get out of your crunchiness, besides throwing paper?
One of the really cool things that I discovered years ago was something that Carl Jung was talking about with mandalas. You guys know what a mandala is? Yeah, circles, squares, shapes, that sort of thing. Excuse me. Pardon me. I'm getting over a chest infection. So yeah, I transformed this, and I found that on my own personal journey, there's a lot of journals out there. I've got a friend who has about 9 different journals for 9 different things. And what I did was I created my own journal. So I've called it a 7-day art transformation journal. And inside it, we've got a circle that's about the size of the palm of your hand, and you spend 5 minutes on it and you get it out of your head. And what Carl Jung discovered is over a month, you can actually have some pretty cool transformations. So if anybody would like a copy of that, please reach out. I'd be happy to give it. It's one of my free things that I give away to people. It's also got a few word things in there. So if you're all about words, this is for you too. But it's a really cool way of using both sides of your brain. So give it a go. You don't have to have a beautiful art aesthetic for this. Just get out there and create. If you're feeling a bit raw, get that raw out. Scratch into your oils, or use, if you're feeling good, maybe you might want to use chalks, because chalks have got that sort of nicer, lighter quality to them. So it's, if you'd like some more information, I could go on about that for a while. I won't. If you'd like more information or you would like a copy, please let me know. I'd be happy to.
Excellent. Nico, what's one quick, easy one that you've got?
Well, I actually have a little bit of an offer for your viewers. I do a confidence challenge, so join me for a week, and we're going to knock off the thing that you've been holding back on for a little while. That one little task that if you got rid of it would actually just change your life so much and get you on the ball on the roll to go forwards. So in my Facebook group, thanks very much for putting that link up there, Neil. In my Facebook group, there's a link in there to my 7-day confidence challenge, open to all women. And I, invite you to come and join me as we explore what it is that's been holding you back. Procrastinator's delight.
I love that.
Wonderful.
Sounds good.
And since I'm working with the Divine Feminine today, one of the things that I find that helps me in a state change, but don't tell anyone, no one tell me, is a bubble bath. No one tell on me. And for me, water is a state change.
Yeah.
Showers work better for me. But a bath, because this 6-foot body gets stiff and tired and sore. I love climbing into my jetted tub. I can have a book, I can have my Netflix, whatever, and just let go.
Yeah. What's actually cool about water is that physically it changes the chemicals in your brain, and you go to a state of brain state which is creative and relaxed, and actually sometimes you might get some good ideas. So I'm curious, Nico, are you anything like me? Do you have a shower and suddenly you've got brilliant ideas coming out and you just wish you had a pen and paper in the shower with you?
Totally,
maybe
Sarah.
In a swimming pool. At the bottom, you're watching that line coming back and forth. You're like, oh, if only there was a pen down there, I could jot that down.
Yeah. I do that all the time. I'm swimming along and I think, oh, wow, that would be great for a workshop. But yes, of course, I don't take the waterproof pen and paper with me. You can get them from Bunnings, I believe, but we're not advertising Bunnings.
It's wonderful.
Your green chest, yeah.
So completely off the wall, what's one of your favorite movies? I'm going to because I'm so used to working with the divine feminine, one of my favorite movies is Princess Bride.
Hmm.
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
I can't think.
I don't know that one either.
What? It's
No,
it's
don't know.
20 or 25 years old. Well, that's because I'm older than you guys. But it's a wonderful movie. Princess Bride.
Right, I'll have
Thank
to
you
have a
for
look at that one. My favorite
be honest.
movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
Pardon?
A Wonderful Life.
Oh, yep,
DC,
Was
don't
that a
you know that
Christmas
one?
favorite?
yeah,
Yes, the Christmas favorite, It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. I'm racking my brain. Movies, and I haven't actually spent a lot of time watching much TV lately. Usually when the television's on, it's because I'm watching a kids movie. So we quite like B movie in our house. Um, yeah, I'm actually struggling to come up with a movie, to be quite honest. Yeah, I enjoy things like, we've got a show in Australia called Bluey, and being a mum of a young child, a show that helps kids to understand things is beautiful. So I love how Bluey demonstrates in a very kid-friendly way this is appropriate behaviour. Yeah, I think I wish I could come up with an adult version, but my brain's just gone, oh, you're a mum.
That's okay. So what are you reading right now? I've just picked up Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. I haven't started it. I was supposed to start it, but it's been absconded by my wife. I left it on the counter too long, and she went, what? What are you reading that's in the personal development realm?
Well, at the moment, I'm actually reading Barack Obama's book on hope. I can't remember exactly what it's called,
Yep.
but it is really quite fascinating. What an interesting man he is. His amazing knowledge of politics and history, and how it's shaped America is really amazing. I've been enjoying it.
Wonderful. And Sarah, she went to grab her book, probably.
Yeah. I'm reading one that's it's DVD for art therapy, which is great for me and people who are working, have DBT, but that's not really great for most of you. What I did grab though, I've got this, so Aaron Stansoni, Think Like, and it's basically snippets from pretty brilliant people from all over the world and their secrets. So how you can think like Oprah, or how you can think like Russell Branson or Steve Jobs or Zuckerberg, or a huge brilliant name. So you can open up, have a couple of pages, you've read a chapter, you're all caught up, and how you can be as awesome as whichever page you choose, which is really quite nice.
Wonderful. So we're getting pretty darn close to the end. So, and we've actually gone through some of the best ways to get a hold. So I'll throw this back up for Nico. So this is your personal webpage. I mean, this is your profile.
Yeah, that's my personal Facebook profile. And that's the easiest way to get in touch with me, because then from there I can invite people into my Facebook group. And I've got a Facebook group called The Confident Radiant Woman. We do some fun stuff in there.
Oh,
like today I posted a thing about what would be your Bridgerton name, lady, your second name, what you've just drunk, and the brand of your car or something. It's silly, but it was just so much fun.
Wonderful. And this is, I don't know how come I got this. This is good. We've got to find a better link for Sarah than this. This does go to Sarah's personal.
Yeah, so this goes to my personal profile. If you go to facebook.com/Coach Sarah Wade, you will also go to my business profile on Facebook. You can also find me on Insta. You can find me on Insta at Design the Life You Desire, which is my hashtag. And I'm also on LinkedIn. So guys, if you want to connect, ladies, I'd love to help you with an artful transformation. Please reach out. please reach out. I'd be more than happy to work with you. And I think Neil's got a few links to share too for how we can contact him.
Most likely, if you found me on Facebook, it's through Facebook / Neil Thrussell. There's very few Neil Thrussells in the world. There's one in New Zealand and there's one in Australia, but that's pretty much it for us. So Neil Thrussell or my website, neilthrussell.com. And before we leave, I'd like to just leave with a few words for our readers and our listeners, and I'm going to allow Sarah to end for us, and then I'm going to say a few words, then I'm going to ask Nico to share, and then Sarah to share, and then we're on our way out. So whatever your hopes and dreams are and your future plans, I hope you know and take it into your heart that you are worthy of all of your goals and aspirations, and you are loved, and you are freaking awesome. And with that, Nico.
Yes. So to all the women out there that are listening, I'd love you to know that your past doesn't equal your future. You can change it whenever you like, whenever you're ready to step in and claim your space in the world and speak confidently. That's my wish for you. Sarah.
Lovely. I love that, Nico. And I would agree to that. I would attest to that for sure. And I will add to that too. You know, we have so many choices, and by not doing something, that's actually a choice too. So reach out, find somebody. If you want to change your life, sure, do the books, do what you can. Get out there, have some fun, which is a really cool acronym. I'm going to swear, so just watch this. Watch this, yeah. Fun, fuck up now. Seriously, fuck up now. Enjoy your time because you have beautiful lessons that you can learn. So get out there and design the life you desire. Really enjoy your life and have a fantastic day. Go have conversations that will uplift the life of everybody around you, and have a really fantastic week.
Thank you. And with that,
much love.
Adios. Arrivederci.